The large starship moved slowly through the darkness of space. Its name, painted in white letters on the side, read Odysseus. Inside, a man named Hyun put away his tools. He was an archaeologist, someone who studied old things from lost civilizations. Hyun to the bridge. A voice called over the speakers. Captain Jun wants to see you. Hyun sighed and stood up. He had been studying some old pottery from a dead world. He liked old things more than he liked most people. They told stories without words. The hallways of the ship were bright and clean. Hyun passed other crew members as he walked to the bridge. Some were human like him. Others were aliens from worlds that had joined the Galactic Alliance. In the year 2187, humans were still the new kids in space. Other species had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. The bridge doors slid open. Captain Jun stood looking at a large screen that showed a green planet. "You called for me, Captain?" Hyun asked. Jun turned. "Yes, we picked up a strange signal from this planet. Not in any language we know." He pointed to the screen. "We're going down to check it out. I want you with the team." "Why me?" Hyun asked. "I study old things, not new planets." "Because," Jun said, "the signal is coming from what looks like a very old building. Might be a temple. Right up your alley." 2 hours later, Hyun sat in a small ship heading down to the planet's surface. With him were Sung, the ship's scientist who studied alien life, and Tech, an engineer from an alien race called the Torendi. The Torendi had blue skin and 4 arms. They were good with machines. "Scans show a small city near the signal source," Sung said. "There is life there. Not very advanced technology." The ship landed in a clearing away from the city. The air outside was safe to breathe. It smelled like cinnamon and wet earth. The 3 of them started walking toward the city, carrying only small weapons for protection. The locals saw them coming. They had gray skin, no hair, and large yellow eyes. They wore simple clothes made of cloth. They didn't seem afraid, just curious. "We come in peace," Sung said, using the translator that hung from her neck. "We heard a signal from your world." One of the locals stepped forward. "I am Elder Rai," the translator said in a flat voice. "You speak of the goddess call. It comes from the sacred temple. Can we see this temple?" Hyun asked. Elder Rai looked worried. "The temple is holy. Only our priests go there." "We have traveled very far," Sung said. "We mean no harm." After much talking, Elder Rai agreed to take them to the temple. It sat on a hill above the city, a tall building made of stone, with strange symbols carved into its walls. Hyun took pictures of the symbols with his small computer. He might be able to translate them later. Inside, the temple was dark, lit only by strange blue lights that floated in the air. The locals, who called themselves the Drakari, led them down a long hallway. Hyun felt something strange, a pulling feeling in his chest, like the temple was calling to him. They entered a large room. In the center was a raised platform. On it lay the most beautiful being Hyun had ever seen. She looked almost human, but her skin gave off a soft, white light. Her hair floated around her head as if she were underwater. And her eyes, they were deep purple and filled with stars. Around her wrists, ankles, and neck were chains made of dark energy. They pulsed and moved like living things. Where they touched her glowing skin, they left dark marks. "This is our goddess," Elder Rai said proudly. "She gives us power for our city. She has been here since the time of our ancestors." But Hyun saw something in those purple eyes, not a goddess, a prisoner. And in that moment, those eyes looked directly into his. He felt a connection form between them, like an invisible thread. And somehow, he knew her name was Nari. Hyun could not sleep that night. In his small room on the ship, he looked at the pictures he had taken of the temple walls. The symbols were unlike any language he had seen before, but somehow, they felt familiar. "Computer, try to match these symbols to known languages," he said. No match found, the computer replied. Hyun rubbed his tired eyes. He could not forget the look in Nari's eyes. She was asking for help. He was sure of it. While Captain Jun and Sun were busy talking with the Drakari leaders about trade and joining the Galactic Alliance, Hyun made his plan. Just before dawn, he slipped out of the ship with a small bag. No one saw him leave. The city was quiet. Only a few Drakari were out, starting fires to cook morning meals. Hyun kept to the shadows. He reached the temple just as the sun was rising. 2 guards stood at the door. Hyun waited until they changed shifts, then quickly moved inside. He remembered the way to the main room where Nari was kept. She was still there, chained to the platform. Her glow was dimmer than before. The dark marks from the chains had spread over more of her skin. "Hello," Hyun said softly. "My name is Hyun. I'm here to help you." Nari's eyes opened. They were still full of stars, but now they showed surprise. She spoke, but the sounds were like music and light mixed together. No words Hyun could understand. He took out his translator and held it near her. "Can you understand me? This should help us talk." Nari spoke again. The translator made a strange noise, then went silent. "That's odd," Hyun said. He tried again, but the translator could not handle her language. Hyun sat down near the platform. "I'll try something else." He pulled out his tablet and showed her pictures of simple things. A tree, a star, a person. He pointed to each and said the word. Nari watched with interest. When he pointed to the star, she made a sound like bells. "Star," Hyun said, pointing to the picture. "Sas, tar," Nari said, the sound strange from her lips. It was the first word from her that he understood. Hyun smiled. "Yes, star." For the next hour, they shared words. Hyun learned that her people were called the Lumi. They were beings of light and energy. The Drakari had captured her long ago when her ship crashed. "How long?" Hyun asked, using simple words and hand motions. Nari thought for a moment. She pointed to the wall where marks had been made. Thousands of small lines. "Days?" Hyun asked. Nari shook her head. "Years." He tried. She nodded. Hyun felt sick. Thousands of years as a prisoner. "The chains," he said, pointing to the dark energy around her wrists. "What are they made of?" This was harder to explain. Nari spoke in her musical language, making shapes with her free fingers as best she could. She pointed to her head, then to the heads of the Drakari guards outside. Hyun frowned. "They're made by thoughts." Nari nodded, looking excited that he understood. A noise at the door made them both freeze. Someone was coming. Hyun quickly hid behind a large stone pillar. Elder Rai entered with 2 priests. They carried bowls of strange liquid that they placed around Nari. They bowed deeply, then connected thin wires to the chains. The wires led to small boxes on their belts. As Hyun watched, light flowed from Nari through the chains into the boxes. Nari's face showed pain, but she made no sound. The priests left after taking what they needed. When they were gone, Hyun came out of hiding. "They're using you as a battery," he said, anger in his voice. "That's why they keep you here." Nari nodded weakly. Her glow was even dimmer now. Hyun reached out his hand, stopping just short of the chains. "I will find a way to free you," he promised, "no matter what it takes." For the first time, Nari smiled. And in that smile, Hyun saw something beautiful. Hope. Hyun returned to the ship with new information about Nari. He told Captain Jun everything. "So the Drakari are using this being as a power source?" Captain Jun asked. He looked troubled. "Yes," Hyun said. "She's been a prisoner for thousands of years. We need to help her." Captain Jun nodded. "I'll call for help from the Alliance. This is bigger than just us." 3 days later, 2 more ships arrived. One belonged to the Terendi, the blue-skinned aliens with 4 arms. The other ship was from the Velteri, tall, thin beings who could walk through walls. The leaders of each group met on the Odysseus. Hyun showed them pictures of Nari and the chains. "These chains are made of energy," said Tech, the Torendi engineer. "We can disrupt energy fields. This should be easy." The Veltari leader, a being named Vox, looked less sure. "If these chains have held for thousands of years, they must be very strong." Captain June stood up. "We must try. The Drakari are keeping her as a slave. This goes against Alliance laws." The next day, they all went to the temple. Elder Rai was not happy to see so many aliens. "What is this?" he asked. "Why have you brought others to our sacred place?" "We know what you are doing to the being you call a goddess," Captain Jun said. "Using her for power. This must stop." Elder Rai's face turned dark with anger. "She is ours. She has always been ours." "No living being belongs to another," Jun said firmly. "Stand aside." The Drakari guards moved to block the way, but they had only simple spears. The Alliance group had stun weapons. Soon, the guards lay sleeping on the floor. In the main room, Nari looked up as they entered. Her eyes found Hyun's, and she gave a small smile. "Stand back," Tech said. He took out a device that looked like a small silver ball. "This will disrupt the energy field of the chains." He turned it on. The ball glowed bright blue, but nothing happened to the chains. They stayed dark and strong around Nari's wrists and neck. "Let me try," Vox said. The Veltari touched the chains with long, thin fingers. Vox's body began to shimmer, trying to phase through the chains. But again, nothing happened. Vox pulled back, looking tired and confused. "My phase ability doesn't work on them. They're not like normal matter." More attempts were made. The Torendi tried cutting the chains with energy beams. The Veltari tried to make Nari phase through them. Nothing worked. A group of kin warriors, cat-like beings known for their strength, arrived next. They tried to break the chains with pure force. Even their mighty muscles could not budge the dark bonds. After hours of failed attempts, everyone was tired and frustrated. The chains seemed to grow stronger with each try, the dark marks spreading further on Nari's glowing skin. "It's like they're learning," Sung said, scanning the chains with her devices, adapting to each method we try. Hyun sat quietly, thinking. While the others had been trying their technology, he had been studying the temple walls. The symbols there told a story. He was starting to understand parts of it. "I think," he said slowly, "we're going about this all wrong." The others turned to look at him. "What do you mean?" Captain Jun asked. "These chains," Hyun said, pointing to the symbols on the wall. "They're not just energy or matter. There's something else." He looked at Nari. "Remember what she tried to tell me." She pointed to her head and the Drakari's heads. "Thoughts?" Sung asked. "You think the chains are made of thoughts?" "Not exactly," Hyun said. "But I think they're made by belief. The Drakari believe she cannot escape, that she belongs to them. And somehow, that belief has become real." The others looked at him like he was crazy. "That's impossible," Tech said. "Beliefs can't create physical restraints." "Maybe in our world," Hyun said. "But what if Nari's people, the Luma, exist partly in another reality, where thoughts and beliefs have power?" Captain Jun looked thoughtful. "So how do we break chains made of belief?" Hyun looked at Nari. "I need more time to figure that out. But I think the answer is in these walls, in the history of how she was captured in the first place." Nari's eyes met his. In them, he saw understanding and trust. For the next 3 days, Hyun lived in the temple. Captain Jun had talked with Elder Rai. They made a deal. The Alliance would give the Drakari new power sources if they let Hyun study the temple. Elder Rai agreed, but he was not happy. Hyun took pictures of every wall. He wrote down every symbol. He spent hours talking with Nari, teaching her more human words so they could talk better. "Your people," Hyun asked her one night, "the Lumi, what were they like?" Nari's voice was soft, like music. Her words were slow but clear. We were travelers. We went from star to star. We could make light, make energy. Is that why the Drakari captured you? For your energy? Nari nodded. My ship broke. I fell here. They found me. They were afraid. Then they saw what I could do. Hyun pointed to the chains. And these, how did they make these? Nari's face showed sadness. Their leader, long ago, very smart, very cruel, he made a story. Said I was a goddess. Said I must stay to make their world good. He made all people believe this. The chains came from their minds. This matched what Hyun had found in the temple drawings. The oldest pictures showed Nari's ship crashing, then the first Drakari leader putting her on the platform. No chains in those early drawings. The chains only appeared in later pictures, after many Drakari were shown bowing to her. Hyun found something else too, a hidden room behind the main chamber. Inside were the oldest writings. He spent a whole day there, copying everything. That night, he showed his findings to Captain June and the others on the ship. Look at this, he said, pointing to his tablet. It's a kind of prophecy, written by the first Drakari leader. Everyone gathered around to see. It says, "The star being is bound by our will. Our belief is the chain that cannot break. Only when doubt becomes stronger than faith will the goddess be free. But this will never happen, for we have made sure our people will always believe." There's more, Hyun continued. The chains are forged from belief, tempered in ceremony, and strengthened by time. No weapon can break them. No mind can undo them. Freedom can only be found in doubt. What does that mean? Tek asked, his forearms crossed. It means I was right, Hyun said. The chains exist because the Drakari believe they exist. For thousands of years, they've taught their children that Nari is a goddess who must stay chained for their good. That belief has become so strong it's taken physical form. That's crazy, Tek said. Beliefs can't make real chains. Maybe not for us, Sung said, thinking. But Nari's people are energy beings. Maybe they're affected by the thoughts of others in ways we don't understand. Captain June looked troubled. So how do we break chains made of belief? We can't change what an entire planet believes overnight. No, Hyun agreed. But maybe we don't have to. He pointed to another part of the prophecy. Look here, it says freedom can only be found in doubt. If the chains are made by belief, maybe they can be broken by disbelief. And how do we do that? Vox asked. I'm not sure yet, Hyun admitted. But there's something else. These pictures show the first leader putting something inside the altar where Nari lies. Some kind of device. I think it might help control the chains. Captain June stood up. We need to look under that altar. The Drakari won't let us, Sung said. It's their most sacred place. Then we'll have to find another way, Hyun said. He looked at the images again, thinking hard. There's something here we're missing. Something about humans specifically. Captain June put a hand on Hyun's shoulder. Keep working on it. I believe in you. As Hyun went back to studying the ancient writings, he felt the weight of Nari's hope on his shoulders. Thousands of years of imprisonment. So many had tried to free her and failed. What made him think he could succeed where others had failed? That night, Hyun could not sleep. He kept thinking about the prophecy and the chains. If belief could make chains, could disbelief break them? But how could he make an entire planet stop believing? In the morning, he went back to the temple. Nari looked weaker each day. The dark marks from the chains had spread over more of her body. I need to understand you better, Hyun said, sitting beside her platform. And I need you to understand humans. Nari looked at him with tired eyes. Why? Humans. Because we're different, Hyun said. We question everything. We doubt. It's what makes us human. He spent the day telling Nari about Earth and its history. How humans had once believed the earth was flat, until someone questioned it. How they had once thought kings were chosen by gods, until someone asked why. How every big change in human history came because someone said, "What if this isn't true?" Doubt is good, Nari asked, confused. For humans, yes, Hyun said. It's how we learn, how we grow. The Drakari believe something, and it becomes real for them. But humans can look at something everyone believes and say, "I don't think that's true." As they talked, a young Drakari entered the room. He was smaller than the others, with lighter gray skin. He looked around nervously. "You should not be here," Han said. "Elder Rai will be angry." "I don't care," the young Drakari said. "My name is Mino. I heard what you said yesterday about the chains being made of belief." Hyun stood up, surprised. "You were listening?" Mino nodded. "I have questions about our goddess." He looked at Nari. "All my life, I've been told she must stay chained for our good. But I've always wondered why. If she's a goddess, why does she look so sad? If she loves us, why must we keep her prisoner?" Hyun felt a spark of hope. "You doubt the old stories." "Yes," Mino said. "And I'm not the only one. Many young Drakari have questions. We just don't say them out loud. It's against the law." This was important news. Hyun thought quickly. "Mino, can you bring these other young Drakari here?" "Secretly. I want to show them something." Mino looked scared, but nodded. "Tonight, when the moons are high." That night, Mino returned with 12 other young Drakari. They slipped into the temple when the guards were changing shifts. Hyun showed them the hidden room with the oldest writings. He translated the prophecy for them. He showed them the earliest pictures, which showed Nari without chains. "Your ancestors didn't see her as a goddess at first," Han explained. "They saw her as a powerful visitor. The goddess story came later, to control her and to control you." The young Drakari looked at each other. Some seemed angry, others confused. "But our power," one said. "Our city needs her energy." "The Alliance can help with that," Han said. "There are other ways to make power, ways that don't need slaves." Mino stepped forward. "I want to help free her. What can we do?" Hyun turned to Nari. "Can you show them what you showed me about your home?" Nari nodded. She closed her eyes. The air around her began to glow. Small dots of light appeared above her, forming shapes. Stars, planets, beautiful cities made of crystal. People like Nari, glowing and free, flying between stars. The young Drakari watched in wonder. This was not the story they had been told. This was not a goddess born to serve them. This was a being from a beautiful world, stolen from her life. "Her people," Han said softly, "the Lumi, they share energy freely. They don't chain each other to take it. They give it as a gift." As the lights faded, Hyun could see the change in the young Drakari's eyes. Doubt had been planted, the seeds of disbelief. "Tell others," Hyun said. "Not everyone, just those who might listen. Those who already have questions." After they left, Nari looked at Hyun with new hope in her eyes. "You understand now?" she asked. Hyun nodded. "I think so. The chains are real because the Drakari believe they are real. But humans are good at not believing. And maybe, just maybe, that's the key to setting you free." Word spread quickly among the young Drakari. Each night, more came to the temple to see Nari and hear Hyun's words. They brought old books and stories passed down by those who had questioned the ways of their people. Elder Rai noticed the changes. The young ones no longer bowed their heads when the temple was mentioned. They asked questions during the daily prayers. Some even refused to wear the sacred marks of their goddess. "Something is happening," Elder Rai said to the other elders. "The outsiders are poisoning the minds of our young." He sent spies to watch Hyun. One night, a spy saw the secret meeting in the temple. He ran to tell Elder Rai everything. The next morning, guards came to the Odysseus. They carried spears and wore angry faces. "Your human has broken our agreement," Elder Rai told Captain June. "He is turning our children against our ways. This must stop now." Captain June tried to calm the situation. "Hyun is just studying your history. If your young people are asking questions, perhaps they are ready for answers. The only answers they need are the ones we have always given them," Elder Rai said. His voice was cold. "The human must leave the temple today, or there will be trouble." When Hyun heard this, he knew time was running out. He went to see Nari one last time before the guards could stop him. "I have to go," he told her. "Elder Rai knows about our meetings with the young ones." Nari looked sad but not surprised. The old ones always fear new ideas. "I won't give up," Hyun promised. "I'll find another way to help you." As he turned to leave, Mino rushed into the room. "Hyun, the elders are coming. They're going to put more guards around the temple. No one will be able to get in or out." "Then we have to hurry," Hyun said. "Show me the back way." Mino led Hyun through a small door hidden behind a statue. They ran down a dark hallway that led outside the temple. "What will you do now?" Mino asked. "I need to find the device under the altar," Hyun said. "The one in the old pictures. It might control the chains." Mino shook his head. "The space under the altar is sacred. Only the high priest can go there during the great ceremony." "When is the next great ceremony?" Hyun asked. 3 days from now," Mino said. "It happens once each year, when the 3 moons align." Hyun thought quickly. "That's our chance. But I'll need help." Back on the ship, Hyun told Captain June and the others about his plan. "You want to sneak into their most sacred ceremony?" Captain June asked. "That's too dangerous." "It's our only chance," Hyun said. "The device under the altar might be the key to the chains." "And what if it's not?" Sung asked. "What if there is no device?" "Then we try the other plan," Hyun said. "We use doubt as a weapon." Mino brought news that night. The group of young Drakari who questioned the old ways had grown larger. They called themselves the New Thinkers. There were hundreds of them now, meeting in secret. "But the elders are fighting back," Mino said. "They've ordered more ceremonies, more prayers. They're trying to strengthen the chains through belief." Hyun could see that Mino was scared. "What's wrong?" "There's something else, isn't there?" Mino looked down. "The elders have ordered a sacrifice at the great ceremony, someone who has questioned the goddess, to show what happens to those who doubt." "Who?" Hyun asked, though he feared he knew the answer. "Me," Mino said quietly. "They found out I was helping you. The guards are looking for me now." Captain June stepped forward. "You'll stay here with us. You'll be safe on the ship." "No," Mino said. "If I disappear, they'll just choose someone else. But if I go back, I can help from the inside. I know the temple better than anyone. I can get Hyun to the altar during the ceremony." Hyun put his hand on Mino's shoulder. "You're very brave. I believe in what you're doing," Mino said. "If the chains are made of belief, then they can be broken by those who choose not to believe. And more of us are choosing that every day." As Mino left to return to the city, Hyun felt both hope and fear. The number of doubters was growing, but so was the anger of the elders. The great ceremony was 3 days away. It would either be the day Neri was freed, or the day everything was lost. The night before the great ceremony, guards came to the Odysseus. They had spears and angry faces. "Elder Rai demands to see the human called Hyun," their leader said. "He must come now." Captain June stood in front of Hyun. "Why? What has he done?" "He has turned young ones against our ways. He has questioned our goddess. These are crimes." Hyun stepped forward. "I'll go with them. It's Oak." "It's not Oak," Captain June said. "They might hurt you. If I don't go, they might attack the ship," Hyun said quietly. "And I need to get into the temple for our plan to work." Captain June didn't like it, but he nodded. "Be careful. We'll be ready if you need help." The guards took Hyun to the temple. Inside, Elder Rai and the other old Drakari waited. Their faces were hard and cold. "Human," Elder Rai said, "you have brought poison to our world. You have made the young ones question what should never be questioned. What do you say to this?" "I have only shared what I found in your own temple," Hyun said. "The old writings, the first pictures, they tell a different story than the one you tell." "Lies," Elder Rai shouted. "You twist our history to your purpose." "Then let me ask you something," Hyun said. "If Nari is truly a goddess who wants to be here, why is she in chains? If she gives her power freely, why must you take it by force?" The room grew quiet. Some of the younger elders looked at each other. "This is your test," Elder Rai said, "to make us doubt. It will not work. The human shall be locked up until after the great ceremony. Then he will be sent away from our world forever." Guards took Hyun to a small room with no windows. The door was locked with a heavy bar. He sat on the cold stone floor, thinking hard. His plan was falling apart. He needed to get to the altar during the ceremony, but now he was trapped. As the night grew darker, Hyun heard a strange sound, a soft tapping on the wall. He put his ear against the stone and heard a voice. "Hyun, are you there? It's me, Mino." "Mino, how did you find me?" "I know all the secret places in the temple. Listen, I can't get you out yet. There are too many guards. But after the first prayers of the ceremony, most will go to the main room. Then I can free you. Will that give us enough time to reach the altar?" Hyun asked. "I think so," Mino said. "But you should know, there are more of us now. Half the city has heard your words. Many are starting to doubt." This was good news. If enough Drakari stopped believing in the chains, maybe they would weaken. "Get some sleep," Mino said. "Tomorrow will be hard." But Hyun couldn't sleep. When he closed his eyes, he saw Nari's face, and something strange happened. He could hear her voice in his mind. "Hyun, can you hear me?" He sat up, surprised. "Nari, how is this possible? Our minds, connected. Chain is weaker. Many now doubt. Are you okay? Are they hurting you? Preparing me for ceremony will take much energy. Need to be ready." "I'll get to the altar," Hyun promised. "I'll find the device." "Not device," Nari's voice said in his mind. "Older, first chain, physical chain. From my ship, they used it as model for belief chains." This was new information. The first chain was real, a physical object from Nari's ship. The Drakari had used it as a model to create the energy chains through their belief. "If we destroy the first chain," Hyun began, "maybe all chains weaken. But Hyun, be careful. Elder Rai will fight hard. He needs my power." Morning came. Hyun could hear drums and singing. The great ceremony had begun. He waited by the door, ready for Mino. After what seemed like forever, he heard the bar being lifted. The door opened, and Mino stood there. "Hurry," Mino said. "Most of the guards are in the main room, but they'll check on you soon." They ran through the temple, using back hallways that few knew about. They could hear the ceremony happening in the main room. Many voices chanting, drums beating. "What about you?" Hyun asked as they ran. "They were going to sacrifice you." "They're looking for me," Mino said, "but they won't find me until it's too late." They reached a small door that led to the space under the altar. It was locked. "This is as far as I can take you," Mino said, handing Hyun a small metal tool. "Use this to open the lock. I must go now to join the others who doubt. We will be in the crowd, ready to help." "Thank you," Hyun said, "for everything." After Mino left, Hyun worked on the lock. It was old and rusty, but finally it clicked open. He pushed the door open and crawled into the dark space under the altar. The space under the altar was dark and dusty. Hyun could barely see. He took out a small light from his pocket and turned it on. The weak beam showed a small room filled with old things, broken pots, faded cloth, bones from long-ago meals. And there in the center was a metal box. It looked very old. Rust covered most of it, but the lock was new and strong. Above him, Hyun could hear the ceremony growing louder. Drums beat faster. Voices chanted higher. Something big was about to happen. He tried to open the box with Mino's tool, but the lock was too strong. He looked around for something to break it with and found a heavy stone. He hit the lock again and again. On the fourth hit, it broke open. Inside the box was exactly what Neri had told him about, a piece of her ship, a length of strange metal that glowed faintly blue. It was shaped like a chain, with 5 links. Each link had markings that matched the symbols on the temple walls. Hyun picked it up carefully. It was surprisingly light. As he held it, he felt a strange feeling, like the chain was alive somehow. It hummed softly. The noises from above suddenly changed. There were shouts and the sound of running feet. The ceremony had been interrupted. Something was wrong. Hyun put the chain in his pocket and climbed out from under the altar. He had to get to the main room. He found Nari. The hallways were filled with confused Drakari running in all directions. No one stopped Hyun. No one even seemed to notice him. He pushed his way through until he reached the main room. The scene was chaos. In the center, Nari still lay on her platform, the dark energy chains around her wrists and neck. Elder Rai stood beside her, his face twisted with anger. Around them, Drakari were shouting at each other. Some wore the marks of believers. Others stood with Mino, their faces showing doubt and anger. The ceremony has been ruined, Elder Rai shouted. These non-believers have entered the sacred space. He pointed at Mino and his friends. Mino stepped forward. We have a right to be here. We are Drakari too. And we have questions that need answers. Questions? Elder Rai laughed. There are no questions. There is only faith. Then answer this, Mino said. If she is a goddess who loves us, why does she look like a prisoner? Why does she suffer when you take her energy? Many Drakari nodded. They had wondered the same thing. Elder Rai's face grew dark. Enough. Guards, remove them. But the guards didn't move. They too had begun to doubt. Hyun saw his chance. While everyone was focused on the argument, he moved along the edge of the room toward Nari. When he reached her platform, she opened her eyes. They were dim now, almost no light left in them. Hyun, she whispered, you came. I found it, he said quietly, showing her the chain from the box. The first chain. The one they modeled the energy chains after. Break it, she said. But be careful. It is connected to me now. After so long. Hyun wasn't sure how to break the chain. It was made of strange metal, nothing he had seen before. He tried to bend it, but it was too strong. Then he remembered the prophecy. Freedom can only be found in doubt. The chain was a symbol of belief. Maybe it needed to be broken by a symbol of doubt. He looked up at the crowd of Drakari. They were still arguing, but he could see the doubt growing on more and more faces. Everyone, Hyun shouted. His voice cut through the noise, and they all turned to look at him. Look at what I found under the altar. The first chain. The one your ancestors used to create the story of your goddess. He held up the glowing chain for all to see. This is not a goddess, he continued, pointing to Nari. This is a visitor from the stars, a person like you and me. She was kept prisoner for thousands of years so her energy could be taken. Elder Rai moved toward him. Stop. That is sacred. You cannot touch it. Watch me, Hyun said. He looked at Nari, then at the chain. I don't believe in these chains. I don't believe she needs to be bound. I don't believe she's a goddess. I believe she's a person who deserves to be free. With those words, Hyun reached out and touched Neri's hand where the energy chain met her wrist. According to Drakari belief, touching the goddess would kill any mortal instantly. But nothing happened. The room went completely silent. Every Drakari stared, their mouths open in shock. Where Hyun's hand touched Neri's, the dark energy chain began to flicker. It grew lighter, then darker, then lighter again. The first chain in his other hand began to glow brighter. "It's not possible," Elder Rai whispered. "It is," Hyun said, "because I don't believe in your chains, and now neither do they." He pointed to the crowd, where many Drakari were nodding. The energy chain at Neri's wrist suddenly broke with a sound like glass shattering. At the same moment, the first chain in Hyun's hand crumbled to dust. A bright light filled the temple as the chains around Neri's other wrist and neck began to break. Each one shattered with a high, clear sound like bells ringing. The dark marks on her skin started to fade. The Drakari watched in wonder and fear. Some fell to their knees. Others backed away. Elder Rai stood frozen, his face showing both anger and shock. "This cannot be," he whispered. "The chains have held for thousands of years." With the last chain broken, Neri slowly sat up. Her body glowed brighter now, the light coming back to her. She looked at Hyun and smiled. "Thank you," she said, her voice stronger and clearer than before. "You freed me when no one else could." She stood up on shaky legs. It had been so long since she had moved freely. Hyun helped her step down from the platform. Elder Rai suddenly moved forward, his face twisted with anger. "No, she is ours. Our power source. Without her, our city will die." He grabbed a spear from a nearby guard and rushed at Hyun. But before he could strike, Neri raised her hand. A gentle beam of light shot from her palm, pushing Elder Rai back. Captain Jun and the crew of the Odysseus entered the temple, having heard the commotion. They stopped in surprise when they saw Neri standing free. "You did it," Captain Jun said to Hyun. "You actually did it." Mino stepped forward. "What happens now? Our city needs power. For thousands of years, we have used the energy of the goddess, of Neri." Neri looked at the young Drakari with kind eyes. "I will help you find new ways to make power, ways that do not need chains or pain. My people, the Lumi, share energy freely. It is a gift, not something to be taken." Over the next few days, things changed quickly on the Drakari world. The temple was no longer a place of worship, but a center for learning. Nari, growing stronger each day, taught the Drakari how to build simple solar collectors that could gather energy from their 3 suns. The Alliance brought teachers and engineers to help. They showed the Drakari new ways to make power and to grow food. Elder Rai and some of the old ones refused to accept the changes. They left the city to live in the mountains, still following the old ways. On the last day before the Odysseus was to leave, Hyun found Neri standing on a hill outside the city. Her glow was bright and beautiful now, her body fully healed. "Will you go back to your people?" he asked. Neri looked at the stars. "My world is gone. My people scattered across the stars thousands of years ago. I am the last of the Lumi in this part of space." "Then what will you do?" "I will stay here for a while," she said. "Help the Drakari learn. Then perhaps I will join your ship. See more of this galaxy." Captain Jun had already offered Neri a place on the Odysseus. The Alliance was very interested in meeting a Lumu, learning from her. "And us?" Hyun asked quietly. "What happens to us?" Neri turned to him, her star-filled eyes meeting his. "Something new. Something that has not happened before. A human and a Lumi finding connection across the stars." She reached out and touched his hand. Where their skin met, a soft glow appeared. "Your mind touched mine," she said, "when you doubted what everyone else believed. When you saw me as a person, not a goddess or a power source. No one had done that in thousands of years." The next day, as the Odysseus prepared to leave, the Drakari gathered to say goodbye. Mino, now one of their new leaders, gave Hyun a small carved stone. "To remember us," he said, "and what you taught us about questioning, about doubt. We have a new saying now. The strongest chains are the ones we cannot see, and the greatest freedom comes from asking why." Neri stood on the ramp of the ship, her light casting long shadows. The Drakari no longer bowed to her or called her goddess. They called her friend, teacher. As the ship rose into the sky, Captain Jun looked at Hyun and Neri standing side by side. "You know," he said, "the Alliance has been around for 10,000 years, hundreds of species working together. But humans have only been part of it for 50 years. Why is that important?" Hyun asked. "Because in those 50 years, humans have solved problems no one else could. Not with better technology or stronger weapons, but with something else." Captain Jun smiled. "The human ability to doubt. To question what everyone else takes for granted. To say, maybe there's another way." Neri's hand found Hyun's, their fingers intertwining. "That is why he could break the chains," she said. "That is humanity's gift to the stars." The Odysseus jumped to light speed, leaving the Drakari world behind. But the story of the human who freed the alien beauty from chains no one else could break spread across the galaxy. A story of how sometimes the strongest power is not belief, but the courage to doubt.